Hey, Cookies here with our last Bigwigs walkthrough guide, and this is going to be for Siege of Borealis, which I have not done in a very long time, so hopefully I remember it. I have unfortunately not ran it at all in the beta, and I have not been able to run it on an M0 yet at all, because a lot of people just aren't doing it. So I am hopefully going to remember as much as I possibly can, and we will just go through and get it all set up. For the first boss, we have Chopper Red Hook. I remember he has a few important abilities. He has a kind of random hook that he throws out on a player that you want to, if I remember correctly, you want to avoid it. And then he does like fixates on random players, and you need to kite him into these little barrels that get thrown on the floor um, to stun him and stop him from fixating. So on the hook is going to be the fixate. Don't need to worry too much about that. Meat hook is he hurls a hook at his current target that will catch the first enemy in front of the boss and inflict damage to it. So this we'll probably want to set as our countdown timer, I believe. So we will probably do that. I might change that, but we'll see. Next, we have Gore Crash, smashes the ground, inflicting damage and knocking back players within 10 yards, and also does damage to everyone. So this is unavoidable damage that we need to worry about. So this is going to be definitely our red bar, because it's the only thing that does like group-wide unavoidable damage on this fight, if I remember correctly. Cannon Barrage is you want to avoid the giant swirlies that are all over the floor. Heavy Ordnance is the bombs that you walk the boss through to make him take extra damage and to stop fixating on people. And then the Heavy Slash is an ad that's in the fight, and it does like a straight line that just does a ton of damage if you're in it. So this is going to be more of a visual indicator, but it is going to be something that we want to be aware of. So I think other than this, we really don't need anything. We're basically just watching for the gore crashes, and then that is about it. Oh, and then the meat hooks is just like we want to be aware of when those are happening, just so we can be cautious of not getting hooked on accident. So yeah, no yellow bar for this fight, just a red bar and a countdown, and I think that'll be good for now. So we'll move on to the next boss, which is Dread Captain Lockwood. This one is the one that jumps, I believe, to and from the boat in like little intermission phases with ads and stuff like that. So let's see. Send the targets in a cone in front of the caster flying. So this is just a frontal. Gut shot is a tank hit. Withdraw is where she jumps onto the boat. Mass bombardment is just a bunch of swirlies all over the floor. Or they target you. I don't remember specifically. Yeah, it's the sided artillery. You get targeted by these circles, and then you can like bait them on top of the ads to do extra damage to the ads and stuff like that. Fiery Ricochet, if I believe. This is the kind of dangerous ability. It hits a player, does damage, and then puts a dot on them. And then also it bounces to other people, so it's kind of like the unavoidable group-wide damage, and the person who gets targeted needs to definitely press something. So I think this, just double checking, because these are all just ads. So this Fiery Ricochet is definitely going to be our red bar immediately. And then for a yellow bar, I don't know if we're going to have one. Crimson Swipe is just a tank hit. Broadside is just a frontal that we want to watch out for that one of the ads does. So we probably put our, it's either we put our countdown timer on clear the deck so that we don't get hit by the frontal by the boss, or alternatively we can set it to broadside just so that we're aware of like, hey, the ad's about to do a frontal. It's just that sometimes I believe there's more than one ad, so we might hear multiple countdown timers. So I don't know how fond of that I am. So for now, we're going to set it to clear the deck. That way we're just aware of when that's going to happen. And then I think we'll leave everything else alone. So same as the first boss, we don't need a yellow bar for anything. So we're going to go on to the next one. This guy, very, very simple fight, but it does do a lot of damage. So this will definitely be one that we want to set stuff up for. So the first thing is Crashing Tide. This one is like big waves that he spawns in front of him, if I remember correctly, and it spawns, it's based on the boss's positioning, so this is more of a tank thing, but you do want to be aware of where he's facing and whatnot. And then Breakwater is, let's see, is this... Erupts under random. Oh, this is the one that we're going to want a countdown for that I was thinking of in my head, because it spawns like a swirly under your feet when it goes off, like immediately. You don't have time to like, it doesn't put a debuff on you and then pops. It just immediately drops on you. And it permanently leaves a pool there, so you don't want to bait it in the spots in the center of the room. You want to walk out and bait it somewhere and then walk back in. So having a countdown for this, whenever we hear the countdown timer, we can then go, okay, he's about to drop the pools on the floor, so I shouldn't be in a spot where I don't want a pool on the floor. And then Tidal Surge is where he spawns the waves across the room, and you just need to dodge them by LOSing them behind the pillar in the middle of the room. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Break Water also does a lot of group-wide damage, so we're going to set this as our red bar also. So it's going to have a countdown and a red bar, that way we know when it's coming ahead of time, in case we need to like do ramp healing or anything like that for it, and just so that when we know when the dangerous ability is happening. And then I think other than that, the other two abilities aren't really that important. This one we can track by energy on the boss, so Crashing Tide, I guess we could just set that as a yellow bar. That way we're just aware of the frontal and all that. Because I think also, if I'm not mistaken, maybe it's only a tank thing, because I don't remember if it was specifically when I was tanking in BFA, but he might target a random player with this, so you might want to bait it. But I don't remember if it only goes on the tank. So for now, we'll set it as a yellow bar, and then we'll kind of play it out and see how it goes once we jump into Mythic Plus and start doing it. And then lastly, we have the last boss, which is Vigoth, or Vikgoth. Let's see here. So this one is going to be one that I don't remember too well, but I do remember it being a very annoying fight back in the day. Putrid Waters. Spits Putrid Water at random enemies, inflicts damage on impact, and then puts a dot or a debuff on people. If dispelled, it does damage and inflicts damage to nearby enemies and knocks them back. I believe this is just a debuff that gets put on people that we need. Oh yeah, I remember this, because if you didn't dispel it like on cooldown the moment it started applying to people, you would fall behind and multiple people would start getting the debuff and you wouldn't be able to keep them all up. So this is something really important to dispel. Call of the Deep, don't need to worry about that, it doesn't look like. Eradication is just random damage. Slam is something that does damage to all players. And Hole Cracker is just a tank mechanic where it's just like you need a player in melee all the time. So Slam is going to be the red bar, because that's going to be our unavoidable group-wide damage. And then I think our yellow bar could probably be Putrid Waters, that we were just ready for it. So I think we will do that. Let's do a yellow bar for Putrid Waters. And then I don't think we're going to do a countdown timer for now. I think we'll set a countdown timer once we do the fight and see if there's anything we want a countdown timer for. So I think that's pretty much it. That covers Siege of Boralus, which finishes up our Bigwigs series for this season of Mythic Plus. I hope it was all helpful. I have a lot of stuff planned for this upcoming week, so make sure you subscribe if you're interested in seeing like commentary content, because I plan to do a lot of raid commentaries and Mythic Plus commentaries and all that kind of stuff. And I've also been streaming a lot, so follow me on Twitch or stop by my Discord, which is linked down in the description, and I have a bot in there that pings every time I start streaming. So but it only pings people who opt into it, so it's an opt-in ping. If you're in the Discord, you won't get pinged unless you want to be pinged for the specific thing. And that's pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.